Okay, so hey everyone, we've got recording in progress, so we're away. So tonight we've got a special guest. We're going to be introducing you to Kerry Johnson, and we will be talking now. Kerry is, and I've written some notes here, so this is a really hard word to say, but Kerry is an aesthetic clinical director. Hard to pronounce, I'm sure hard to do as well. She is the founder and owner of Joy by Nature. Kerry is a registered nurse, and both in the UK and in Australia, and worked with the most critically ill patients, and has done worldwide research that's been recognised as well. So I'm not stealing too much of your thunder, Kerry, but I thought I'd give you a bit of an intro. But now, Joy by Nature is what Kerry does. She's a busy mum and a busy business owner. So happy to have Kerry along. So hi, Kerry, how you doing?
Hello, thank you for having me. What an
Cool.
intro.
Yes,
You got to
well,
live up to that hype.
yeah, absolutely.
No pressure. No
That's it.
pressure.
That's it. So before we get started with Kerry, what we're going to do, the main topic tonight is going to be around skin and vitality and things that, I need to learn more about for myself. But Karen, I think you were going to have a little bit of talk about metabolic balance and skin and how that works. And then Kerry, we're going to fold in over to you because there's a lot of alignments there. So over to you. It's going to be very quiet on my microphone tonight, but because I'm going to let the superstars rock the room. And yeah, take it away, Karen, and speak to you all soon.
Yeah, so I apologize that I am reading some notes, everybody, because I made a huge amount of notes today. But essentially, with what we are all doing with metabolic balance, it's really about having a balanced diet. And that balanced diet is to provide us with the best vitality with everything we do. So, and that really then equates to skin health. And Kerry, feel free to jump in if I say anything that isn't correct. But the way I look at it is that our skin ends up being a byproduct of what we put inside us. I mean, obviously there's other things, there's environmental toxins, there's sun, there's external factors that affect what happens to our skin. But unless we nourish ourselves with the right nutrition, hydration, the foods that we eat, we're not going to have the optimal health of the skin that we actually have. I kind of look at it and go, like, we live in Australia. So straight away, we've got this big yellow thing that sits in the sky that is going to impact all of us and our skin health. And I certainly sit there so many times and go, oh my goodness, what did I do to my skin? Every time I go and get my skin looked at and people go, oh, there's a lot of skin damage, sun damage there. It's something that I can't do anything about now with that. I can't not have that time in the sun. But what I can do is look after myself, treat myself well with the food that I feed it, like getting the right balance of fats in my diet, antioxidants in my diet, all of those things, which is what metabolic balance is about. That's what we've given you in that perfect list of foods, getting you to drink that right amount of water. We're kind of building this foundation. And then I kind of go, okay, what else can we do? And that's probably where I see this cohesion with what Kerry does is we're kind of seeing that foundation, and hopefully we give Kerry the really good kind of starting block for what we do. And then you can kind of then help with that next step. Does that kind of all fit in? Was that how does that make sense, Kerry?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So especially how we're working right now, we would often refer back to a program like this to get you started, because the same vice versa. If you come to me first, I can only get you so far. And my results depend on getting the nutritional side right first. Otherwise I become a stumbling block and I can't get you anywhere. We can often get temporary results, but some of the other chain clinics, that's how they make their business, because you come back and you come back and you come back because it's only a temporary fix. And what I wanted to do in my clinic was do the build up properly first, so you can understand why you're at the stage that you're at, how you can help yourself, and then maintain it. so that you're just coming to see me in the end more for wellness and time out because you've got all of the other structures already in place and you're maintaining that, and everybody goes and has a night out, and you wake up the next morning, you're like, oh, that's out in my skin the next day. We've all done that. And we'll all do it again. But that just shows you how related to what we're doing happens later on. You see it.
So, Kerry, talk us through, I guess, a typical visiting Joy by Nature. How does that work? If someone's to drop in, what's the process, I suppose?
Yeah, so it depends what you want to get out of coming into the clinic, I guess. So I'll talk about a few different things that I do within the clinic and then more so how that relates to this group. But I do a lot of skin health in Joy by Nature. So we do skin analysis. So we put you into a machine and it takes multi-layered approach to the skin and it shows us what's happening at each layer. And then that can explain some of the things that we're seeing. So dehydration, oil production, acne, and so on. It all stems from something that's happening actively within the skin. And then that relates to what you guys do with the whole nutritional side in the end. So we put you through that phase and then we make a plan between us on how we can get you better skin results. So some people come in that have had terrible acne as a child or adult acne, and then we're dealing with the scarring phase. So we've got different treatments to help with scarring. And we have different treatments for textures of the skin. Yeah, so we make a plan about what treatments come next, depending on what we see in that skin analysis phase. And most of my clients, I would say, are 35 and older. I like my clientele.
That's handy.
For obvious reasons. But I think they're in a phase of life where they know themselves. They've done their time of going out and drinking and doing all of those things. We still do them, but not in an unhealthy way. We're generally wanting a bit of balance to life. We're wanting to do better, and we're trying to find some time for ourselves as well. And a lot of the other side of the clinic is also that I don't like the word luxury because I don't think it's a luxury. I think it's sometimes a necessity that we take some time out. We're all busy people and we're trying to fit things into lifestyle to better ourselves, and making time for ourselves is also really important. So I think just having some time out, getting a plan on how we can make things better for ourselves. So just having a facial with a goal of you just want to have an hour where your phone's off and it's just all about you. So yeah, that's kind of a normal day in the clinic as we come in, we talk about you, lifestyles, where you're at in life. Some people are super stressed and their skin is a reflection of their entire life. They're just super busy people and they're just one thing after another, and they need to take a break and calm down a little bit and put some time back into themselves. And as soon as they get a level playing field of work-life balance, everything else falls into place. Muscles, people that come in with neck tension and masseter tension, headache, all of those things that we do in the clinic can all stem from lifestyle choices too. So it's a bit of a holistic approach to having a look at what we can do for people.
That's probably something you want to tap on, I guess, is the holistic side of.
Yeah, and I think that's probably really important to me. So I know that I've had a look at lots of different places and different approaches, and there's certainly still an element of clinics that I think are probably more on the
remember you
just say it. Just say it.
Yeah, that's it.
We all know it. We all know it. You can say it. You're in a safe space.
That real kind of chemical injection into the skin and trying to I guess putting things into the skin. So I'm very much in my approach with what I do and the way I eat and the lifestyle that I have, that I really try to reduce what I class as my toxic load. And I know that that's never going to be perfect, but I try to bring it down as much as I can. So I guess from a kind of holistic point of view, and I know we've had a bit of a chat about this when we caught up last time, how does your approach kind of differ to, say, I went to another clinic and I got lots of injectables and looked very different probably coming out to what I looked when I went in there?
Yeah, there's a lot of those clinics. But so my background being in ICU, I've done 2 decades in ICU and always been about looking after my patients and looking at them as a whole lifestyle instead of just what they initially come in and ask me for is generally not what they leave and have had done. And I talk a lot of people out of things. And I think that's an unusual situation to come in and they go, I want to get Botox everywhere. I don't want a line anywhere on my face. And I go, do you know that aging is a privilege that not many people have? And actually, no expression on your face is not good in general. You need to get some sort of response from people. They need to be able to see that you can give something back to people. You won't do well in business. You won't have good relationships, and that's all from making this sort of choice. What do you want the Botox for? You know, if you come across as an angry person because you've constantly got this frown, we can soften that sort of thing. So we just talk about things in a different way. And my partner's medical as well, so we're both on the same path of how we want to look after our patients. And what I really pride our clinic on is that I have a referral network. So if the skincare routines aren't working, so I do a children's teenage skincare program for kids with acne and so on. And again, lots of that is lifestyle choices, way too much sugar, not being active, not looking after their guts, and just a bit of education. And I actually do minimal intervention physically hands-on. A lot of it is just talking and giving them plans. Follow this chart. Wash your face in the morning, you know, with nothing exciting, just some plain cleanser that's got nothing active in it, essentially. And work through these things with them, and we get way further. And then the referral partners of the dermatologist stepping in when I've reached my limit of education and intervention and gone, you now need someone else. The chiropractors, you know, referring out to those when I think it's body and it's alignment and stuff like that, that I think they would actually get more out of. So I'm trying to look at my patients way more than what they think the quick fix is. And we all know that everybody wants a quick fix, but in reality, there is very little that we can sustainably do with a short-term solution. So I think that's what you get in our clinic that you don't get in others, where I'm not trying to sell you something. And that might not be what every client wants to hear.
In
But
terms
I'm
of
not willing to do quick fixes.
you've sort of talked about quick fix, that what I guess, and I know it's very vastly different, right? People are going to present with different and have different goals.
Yeah.
But I guess what's a typical duration of a journey look like? It's probably a lifestyle thing, of course, no doubt. But I guess coming in and probably having challenges in terms of, you know, skin and skin health to, you know, then I guess moving towards, okay, now you've got a good program going and you are looking after. What does that look like typically for you, or what do you, is there such a thing, or is it vastly different?
It would be kind of asking you the typical woman's problem. It would depend what they come with. If it's a scarring issue, it's a bit of a different approach to skin scarring, where we may do a 6-month program where we get to the deeper scar tissue quicker, but then that long term looking after the skin, thickening the skin back up again so that, you know, it doesn't hit with edema and so on afterwards. So it might be a 6-month program But what I generally do is once I've done the skin analysis, I make them a plan so they know upfront how long this is going to take.
Yeah.
Or how long I think it's going to take. And we may move those goalposts. I might say, you know, we're in this for the next 6 months, 9 months. But then we might change those goalposts. Or if somebody's just coming in for well-being, then we might just touch base every 3 months.
Yeah.
And we just see how you're feeling and so on. It really depends on what they come in
So
for.
there's a lot of analogies to metabolic balance, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
very similar.
once obviously you do the scientific analysis, then you're able to plot the course from there.
Yeah, everyone's starting it's different, and everybody wants different things. So
yeah.
Which is really important. So question for you, just to put you on the spot a little bit.
Love that.
If you were to say to somebody on a daily basis, do this every day, is there anything that you would say, like for somebody looking after their skin? Because there's as with nutrition, there is so much information out there. There are so many influencers out there that tell everybody to kind of do this, do that, go buy this product, go buy that product. How do we kind of remove all of that noise and know what to do?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's a lotion and potion and serum for absolutely everything under the sun. But I honestly don't think these things are necessary. You know, you can get your vitamin E's, your vitamin B's, and your vitamin C's from all sorts of other areas than something that rubs in the skin. And to be quite honest, to even get it to penetrate to a level in which it is beneficial, you actually have to go quite deep. You probably have to go to a 0.5 millimeter in the skin depth for it to even be absorbed properly. So a lot of these things aren't. One thing that I do say that everybody should do, and I try like you do with all of your kids, is that they put on their SPF as just standard. When they get up, they wash their face, and I don't care if that's with a normal bar of soap. I don't care, just wash your face and put on SPF. It's the one thing that actually ages our skin the most is the sun.
What
and the skin damage that we can get.
Little bit of a product promo, because there's about a zillion sunscreens in Queensland or in Australia. Do you have go-tos?
Anything that is approved by the Skin Council.
Okay.
There's the Skin Cancer Council, and they have a logo on the bottles that they approve.
Okay. Yep.
So any brand, there's plenty of brands in Coles and Woolies.
Yep.
And they all have that safety badge on, and they've gone through vigorous testing for, you know, allergies and penetration for UVB. So anything with that logo.
Awesome.
So I'm not attached to any particular brand as long as it's got the safety profile, then any that's got that on.
Cool. So a good face wash, apply the sunscreen and an SPF 50, we're talking, of course. And any nighttime routine?
Yeah, so the only other serum that I do like is a retinol. A retinol for skin turnover. It does give, as we get older, it is good for keeping the cells attached. So a lot as we get older, instead of our cells being encapsulated, they start, you know, breaking and opening up, and then you've got, you know, gaps within that cell, and that's kind of what allows the aging cell, and then everything around it ages and so on. And retinol does help to hold that bond together, and the skin turnover happens faster. So a retinol for bedtime routines is good. You can't wear retinol during the day because it's sun sensitive. But on a nighttime it's good, but it's not something you need to wear every night. You can wear it every third night and it would still be good. Good for the back of your hands, neck and neck, that sort of area.
And when you say sun sensitive with retinol, what do you mean by that? Like if you had it on during the day,
you can burn. It's like you know, you get your antibiotics and so on that are a bit more sun sensitive, and they say, oh well, you're on this, you know, be careful in the sun. It's exactly the same. It's just the compound of it reacts in sunlight, so you're just more likely to burn. That's the only thing. So if you did wear it and it was out, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but you may catch the sun easier than you would normally.
Very cool.
And like probably another question that I've got before I sort of open it up to other people. So I know, and it kind of comes back to how much value do you put on your health of your body and your skin. But I know that a lot of people get put off because it's so expensive and products have to be expensive and things like that. Is it a case that the more you pay, the better the product, or does it really come down to those individual products and what's actually in them?
It depends what's in them and what you're using them for. If you just want a normal skincare routine, I wouldn't particularly go for anything super expensive. You're really looking for something that cleans the skin but doesn't have perfumes and stuff in it. If it smells nice, it doesn't really matter. It's how well does it clean your face. Retinols, everybody, you know, when everybody thinks the higher the strength, the better it is, you actually can't use something that's super strong. So if you're looking for the strongest retinol out there because you think it's going to do you the world of good, you actually will put it on and it will hurt your skin.
Wow.
So it's not necessarily, you know, the stronger things are, the better they are either. I think I just brought into the clinic something for perimenopausal, menopausal women in skincare, and I think that is a bit more expensive, but I actually like the technology behind it, and the more I learn about it, the more impressed I am about it. So I think that is probably a bit more expensive than your average skincare, but I understand it with what technology has gone in it, and it's a 3-product day nighttime routine, and that's all you need. So I quite like that, but that does come with a price to it. But I wouldn't think it's any more expensive than somebody that's using a brand name that everybody knows.
And that was the part, and like we'll put that in the cards and actually let everybody know what that product was. And that was the one that we looked at, and we looked at the ingredients.
Yeah. I've actually since, you know, I asked Karen, as the background story, I asked Karen to have a look at it and see what she thought about it before I brought it into the clinic. And then I've actually gone to some webinars and looked at some of the research that went into it, and they actually looked at hormone levels in people and trying to mimic this synthetically. You can't put an estrogen into the skincare, but you can mimic the structures of it and how it helps. And we all know as we get older, you know, the skin thins, the texture of your skin changes. And when you look at your arms and so on, the skin texture looks different as we get older. And that's what this skincare is trying to do. It's trying to bring back the estrogen that brings the skin that texture. It holds moisture better. It stops the thinning process from happening as fast. We'll never stop aging. There's no cream out there that's ever going to stop you from aging. And that should never even be what you want anyway. You just want to have a good barrier.
Yeah.
You want your skin to protect your organs underneath. You don't want to have, you know, if you've got thinning skin that you don't look after with SPF, you are more likely to get a melanoma, skin cancer. So we know all of these things. And apart from that, you know, the wrinkling and all of those sorts of things, it does help with all of that as well as a byproduct. But it's more about skin health, keeping it, you know, your skin with good texture and thickness and not letting it get dull and dry. It holds all of the moisture that we lose over time.
Yeah. How about we open the floor? If anyone would like to ask a question, just unmute your mic, and we've got a little bit of Q&A. I do have a couple of questions lined up, but I'll just let's see if anyone unmutes their mic to talk to Kerry about any questions they might have about their skin and skin health.
Come on. Talk it to me. I think everybody's eating their well thought out
yes,
food.
we have we do have everyone.
That's what's going on
along
here.
to eat, so they're probably very full in that. Whilst people are reaching for their mic, I've got one. So typical Queensland kid I was, out in the sun, probably used baby oil back in my day to tan, no doubt.
we had this conversation.
Yeah.
Yes, we
And
did.
so
We did.
you go to the skin, I'll call them skin doctors, I'm sure that's the dermatologists,
Dermatologist.
and they've recommended that because of the sun damage, I should get a chemical or a peel of some, either laser or chemical. What's your, and I know it's probably way into the realm of dermatology, but you know, what have you seen, and what, you know, I guess what would be your just overarching thoughts on that?
I think chemical peels have their place, but I think the client has to be ready for what that entails. It's intense. Chemical peels are intense. They're sore. Your skin is raw. It's meant to burn off. That is what it's doing. It does burn off a layer of skin. The skin analysis machine is quite cool because it goes through to those layers and sees where the skin pigment picks up and then how deep that is. So it actually tells you at what depth you would need a chemical peel to actually get a benefit.
Right. That sounds like that would be a good thing to do first. So yeah.
So you can see if it's superficial, and in which case a light chemical peel that you could get in any facial would help. And then I can see how deep it goes to where a dermatologist would have to take over, and it would have to be something way more in depth. We have, you know, the deepest one I do in clinic is cosmoline, and that's still a 2-week downtime where you know the skin just heals until it can't find the melasma anymore in the skin, and that's the dark pigment in the skin.
Yep.
But I know dermatologists can go even deeper than that, but it's not something that I do. I think it does have its place. You just got to be prepared for it, and you need somebody that knows to what depth they would need to go to get a benefit, and what you're doing it for. If you're at higher risk for skin cancers and so on because of the pigment that you've got in there, then it's obviously worth it. If you've got dark patches of your skin and pigment that you're conscious of and it affects you in confidence, or you're always trying to cover that up, and then you can't be your normal self if you're always trying to cover something up, then I think it's worth it. So it depends on what you want to do, and having the right person that knows at what depth you need to go to for that.
Very cool.
And with that the machine that you have, the analysis, can it detect potential changes in the skin to actually, I'm going to be careful how I say this, detect cancers and things like that? I mean, obviously I know like there's biopsies and things like that. Like, can you see things that you would then sort of say, hey, look, you need to then go and get checked?
I've seen some moles or misshapen dark patches that I've suggested they go to a dermatologist, and you'll see them on the skin analysis that, you know, they don't look like the average, but I wouldn't have the expertise or the knowledge to say anything other than that you need to go. When was the last time you had a skin check is generally what I say, and then from there I would suggest that you know, just go and get it checked out. You never regret going to get it checked out. You only regret not going
it was
in the first
interesting.
place.
So Scott and I both, like, I actually had a free skin check a number of years ago. It was just random that we were at an event and they were doing free skin checks, and I sent Scott in first thinking, well, he's Australian, he's been using baby oil, he's going to be the one. And took a look at my back and went, you need to go and see someone straight away. And yeah, since then I've actually had 2 not melanomas, but 2 skin cancers removed.
And they can look really innocent. There was a dry patch on what I would have looked initially as being a dry patch on a client's face, and she always had it here, and she would come for facials. I said to her, we don't get that patch to change ever. Have you ever gone to a dermatologist and just had your skin checked on? And she went and she actually had quite a large excision taken. And I would never have thought in a million years that was any form of skin cancers, but it turned out that it actually was, and it just looked like a dry patch. It had no dark pigment to it at all. Just looked like a furry almost top of the skin.
But both of mine were
so you
exactly
never
the
know.
same.
Right.
I
It's just
had a
you
dry
never
patch
know.
on my back that just wasn't healing. And
Yep.
I originally went mosquito bite. I've scratched it. It's just not getting better. It was a little bit itchy, but nothing that I would have, from what the studies that I did, because even in my studies, I had to do the biology and looking at skin and things like that. And I saw the pictures of what skin cancers looked like.
Yeah.
And went, no, that doesn't look like any of those. And then I went and they did the biopsy, and it was quite a large. The incision on my back is certainly significant.
Yeah.
And then the same one appeared on my hand, exactly the same, just a little dry spot. So for anyone on the call that hasn't had a skin check recently,
Go get one.
Go
Go
get
get
one.
one.
There you go. And tell me, and being totally ignorant, lip fillers and the like. I'm intrigued. Intrigued more from my point of view, but let's just open up that little Pandora's box.
Oh, the world of filler. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I don't do a lot of lip fillers. And on the ones that I pick the clients in which I do, and some of them are just looking for hydration more than anything. So filler is actually a HA that we all have. It's a sugar molecule, and all it's really doing is attracting water from the area and holding it. So and depending on the client and what they want, you know, some of these 20-year-olds with these lips that you see before you see the person, they
Yeah.
have picked they have picked a filler with a large molecule that holds more water.
Right. So that's still
So that's why they're so big.
The big lips.
And it depends what look they're looking for and what injector they've got that allows that stuff to happen. Is they'll pick a molecule depending on what that client is looking for. So I have a filler that's very, very thin. It's like water basically, and it
Right.
holds small molecules. So it's just holding hydration. So it's not really giving much volume to the lip. It just gives hydration to the lip instead.
Okay.
But yeah, there's other clients that have no lips and would like some volume, so at least they have it, you know, the cosmetic shape, and so they can put lipstick and so on, and of course we can do that. But my clientele is really just looking for more of a hydration than anything.
Okay. Very good to know. Right. Well, that's our session on skincare. Yeah, Kerry. So Kerry, where's the practice?
My practice is in Highgate Hill.
Uh-huh.
We're a nice little boutique clinic, out of the way, plenty of parking, no issues, nice and private. You don't generally see another person. We have no crossovers generally, so you're in and out. You don't really see
Cool.
anyone. Plenty of time, so we're not in a rush to do anything.
Yep.
And we can personalize everything to what's going on for you.
yeah.
Super.
And that just aligns so well with what I do, because or what we're all doing, because the nutrition we follow is personalized nutrition. So
And that's what resonated when we
That's
caught
it.
up.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
And even if, you know, the client is happy, we can even have the discussion about what your plans are between the two companies, and how I can complement what you've already got going on. And then, you know, I'm engaged more in your plan of where you want to go in your other program.
Yeah.
I do have one other question for you. And so I talk about with nutrition, so people come to me and they go, what I was doing is now no longer working. So they might have been eating a certain way. They might be eating really well. It just doesn't work for them. And I explain that the body requires something different. It's just needing different nutrients. We just need to get it back into balance. I would presume that's the same for the skin. Just because you had a certain skincare routine when you were 15 and you used Clinique because that was the thing, what you need when
Did we have a skin routine when we were 15? I missed that.
I think we tried to.
Yeah, I was on the cooking oil with God, when I was 15.
No, I had a skin routine. Excellent.
I would have thought. Yeah, no, skin's exactly the same. And as we get older, we're losing all of the hormone balance that we were given naturally before. We don't have that anymore. So we have to try harder to keep those levels up. so that our skin health shows, you know, in your program that gut health is directly related to your skin. You know that if you don't fuel yourself, it comes out in your skin health. If you have a heavy night, like I said the night before, and you've had a night out, the next morning you can absolutely guarantee, or the next day, you will have some sort of breakout, a toxin trying to get out, comes out through sweating, it's on your pillow off going to sleep, and etc. So it's directly related. So yes, you do need to try harder. Maybe not harder, you just need to be smarter with choices. So you're not given it naturally. You have to replace what you're losing. And we know as we get older, the estrogen, progesterone, all of those levels, they're all changing, and we need to boost them up in a different way.
Amazing.
Awesome. Well,
Thank you.
there
Everybody's really quiet.
they are. They are. Everyone's been
Got
very
a
quiet.
quiet
Yeah.
Question.
We've been so quiet throughout. Maybe we've hammered the questions. But yeah, certainly it doesn't look like anyone's going to be tapping that mic tonight. So that's okay.
No problem.
Yeah.
You
So
can always contact me later.
yeah, that's right.
And
So,
we'll put Kerry's details in and everything so everyone can, if they want to reach out to Kerry as well. We just, So for those on the line, we managed to connect through a networking, and just found such real synergy in our approach to what we do. So hence the reason we wanted Kerry to come along for you guys to benefit from her incredible expertise that she has.
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you for having me.
This approach. And so we'll call that a wrap for this evening. And looks like you've had some hungry people in your back room there, Kerry, and we
Perfectly placed where the pantry is right behind you.
We
I know, perfect exposure.
yeah.
I was like, at least it's far enough away, no one can see what's in there.
yeah. Notice that everyone's been putting their cameras on not showing, but good to see that Belinda is firing away there as she normally does with the she's one of the real cooks, and off she goes and does her thing, so that's pretty cool. So thanks everyone. That was really, really awesome.
Thank you.
Look out for the recording, and
Has anyone got any questions for the week, not about skin health, anything they want answering? You're more than welcome to stay, Kerry, but if you need to head off, feel free as well. No, it looks like everybody is absolutely sorted, which means that vitality is hopefully
check out those stats.
I think is B's iPhone. Are you trying to say something?
Sorry, Belinda, I did mute you.
Sorry.
You're gonna have to mute yourself. I apologize.
Okay. Hello.
How
are you?
No, great headphones. They're very impressive.
They're my Apple.
Apples.
Yeah, my apples. Actually, I can't see you now. Hang on. How do I see you? Okay, there you go. Kerry, I actually totally agree with you. I God knows how much money I've spent on my skin over the years.
I have a lot of clients that say the same thing.
I go every 4 weeks to have, and I say to my therapist, what am I having today? And I'm sure some of them have been worth the money and others haven't been worth the money. But I do believe a sunscreen, heaps of water, and a good night's sleep is
sleep.
Absolutely.
So good for your skin. I actually have a question. Well, I've got one question for you, Kerry. So I'm not on HRT, and I'm 60 this year.
Good job.
But a lot of my girlfriends are on HRT, and they argue that it's actually better to be on HRT for your skin as you age, which has sort of got me interested in going to see my GP and have a discussion. But I've never felt the need to be on HRT. So what's your view on that?
So you will be going on HRT?
No, what's your view? What's your view of women being on HRT to stop the aging process, including their skincare and so forth? Because they've got more estrogen in their body or progesterone or whatever. Yeah.
So there's always two sides to everything. So I have clients that's on HRT, and I have clients that are not, and I wouldn't say that their skincare for each one of them is dramatically different. So I don't see all the clients that are on HRT and I'm going, oh my God, you're clearly on HRT because your skin's amazing, as opposed to the ones that aren't. And I find most of the people that went on to HRT had nothing to do with their skin. They had horrendous symptoms that they could not control.
Yeah.
And the other
yeah.
thing about, I don't know what your GP is like, but from the clients that I've got that I'm now referring to Karen and Scott, is the GPs don't really understand us very well. What we're our symptoms, what we need, trying to get the HRT levels correctly. My clients that have gone on it for the first at least 18 months are all over the place. And that's probably what I see the most, is where their skin is super dry, then super oily, super dry, and I'm trying to chase what's going on with their HRT. So it would depend on, if you are purely doing it for skin, I think you can do it other ways. Is probably
sure.
what it is. If you are doing it for symptoms for your menopause or hormone levels and stuff like that, then I think it's, something that you could explore. But for skin health, I don't see a huge dramatic change. I think you can get your progesterone or estrogen. It depends what you deficit in, or what you feel the most as to what strategy we would use. But generally, with an analysis, I can see what's going on there and telltale signs of dryness or oiliness or whatever else is going on in the skin. I can generally tell where you're at, and then design a program to not fix, but run alongside what your deficits are.
Well, my therapist has just moved to the Sunshine Coast, so you may visit. You may get a visit from me.
See me. But a skin analysis is a really good way of being accountable as well. I get clients that say, I've done so many treatments and I don't know if it did or didn't work. And I find
I think they work. I do think they work.
Being accountable.
Yeah.
So you
can see a difference in my skin. I can see benefit in my skin treatments. Yeah, absolutely.
You look incredible, Belinda. Like, I must admit, like, I am completely the opposite to you. I'm going to absolutely horrify everyone on this call now. I have never had a facial in my life.
Oh my God.
Jesus, Karen.
and
you're killing me, Karen.
We've bought
you're
her.
Killing me, Karen.
I know. And now I've got to this age and my skin has got to where it's gone and gone. Oh, if only I could reverse the time, because I have absolutely no regrets and I'm absolutely comfortable with where I am, but it has actually made me go, I need to do something. And at least I have found Kerry now so that I can actually make that.
Well, it's a bit more holistic.
You look hot, Karen.
Thank you.
You beat me to it, Belinda.
And never having a facial. You look great.
You ladies, look at you go. Wow, well,
you're gonna have each other's back.
Yeah.
Everyone, thank you very much, Belinda.
Do you have another question, Belinda?
Oh, sorry. We all good?
I was just going to ask you, Karen. Look, it's probably something I need to ask you personally, but I think I've developed an allergy to food since I've been on Metabolic. Is that normal? And I think it's eggs. I actually think I've developed an allergy to eggs. Yeah, because I have an allergic reaction. On 2 occasions, I've had my eggs, and I've had an allergic reaction, and I've never had that before. But I can discuss that with you privately. But
we'll have a chat. But yes is the answer. That can happen, not necessarily because of metabolic balance, but because of something else actually happening in the body that may have been suppressed.
Right. So you can develop allergies as you get older.
Absolutely.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Any stage in life, and then it's determining is it an allergy or an intolerance.
Right. Okay.
We can talk about that in the next session. Yeah. I will reach out and we'll have a chat and understand the symptoms and what's happening, and we'll work that one out.
Yeah, this age thing.
Yeah.
I know, it's a shit.
And speaking of age, where it's 18 past, we're a little bit late, and we all need our beauty sleep. I think after
We
this,
need
I
to wash our faces,
sleep, and I gotta
drink
go
water, and
wash
sleep
my
well.
face and put some. What did I have to put on at night time?
Retinol.
Right, got to find some retinol. I didn't know what that is.
Oh,
but-
Karen gets bonus points.
there you go. We've been listening. Kerry, thank you so much, and we're looking forward to
No worries.
working with you. We love the
I'll
work
see
you
you
do, and we
soon.
love your holistic approach.
Yeah.
So to everyone on the line, thanks for hanging in, and I hope you learned a lot. And we will be recording this one as usual, and we will no doubt see you around practice.
Have an amazing evening, guys.